So Thor Love and Thunder is a really great new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie addition, and it has all the ingredients to make a wicked Thor movie, and it is really, really great, but you just leave this movie thinking that it could have been so much better. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So in this video we are going to be reviewing Thor Love and Thunder, which is the latest MCU movie and the fourth standalone Thor movie, which is absolutely wicked, and the second one to be directed by Taika Waititi. And it is really, really cool. I mean, it's a really fun movie. It has a lot of epicness to it. It has a lot of lightheartedness to it, and really does continue the way in which Ragnarok has kind of set the new path for the Thor character. But like I said, you just leave this movie thinking that it could have just done so much more with its wicked storyline potential and its awesome new characters. Jane Foster's Mighty Thor and the brilliant Gorr the God Butcher, but it just ultimately feels like a little bit of a mess, and also does feel pretty rushed as well. It could have benefited so much more from a longer runtime, and I'm going to be breaking it all down for you in this movie review. So there are three simultaneous storylines going on at the same time in Thor Love and Thunder. So the first one explains Gorr's origins and really does explain why he hates all gods and wants to wipe them all out. And he is an absolutely chilling and such an excellent villain that Marvel have created. He's so menacing and his horror moments are just absolutely brilliant, and you can really feel and understand why he hates all gods. And I think they did a really good job in explaining that. Like I said before, it would have been so much better if they would have expanded this even further. But for what they did do with the Gorr character, it was really, really great. Also, we have the Thor character really searching for purpose and meaning for his life. And this picks up from when we last saw the character in Endgame. So he is currently with the Asgardians of the galaxy, and we kind of see him leaving them and starting up his own new superhero team to fight against the Gorr character. And then of course we have the brilliant Jane Foster character here as well. The last time we properly saw her was of course in Thor the Dark World. So it's really great to revisit this character and obviously to have her elevated into becoming the Mighty Thor whilst also having cancer at the same time. This storyline was so massive in the comic book, so it's really, really great to see it translated onto the big screen, and Natalie Portman absolutely nails it. And then of course we have all three of these storylines converging together, which is really, really great. Now from a positives point of view, like you can see, they pack in so much into this movie. There are multiple massive big storylines from the comic books in this movie, which is really, really great, and they balance comedy and drama really, really well. Like I said, it does feel very, very epic in the same way that Ragnarok did feel really, really epic as well, but was also a really true comedic, hilarious movie at the same time. It feels very Thor. You can really feel that in all of the aesthetics, in all of the kind of places that they go to. Very similar color palette from all three of the previous Thor movies, which is really, really cool. And whilst it is definitely a Thor movie, it expands the world that Thor kind of is in terms of other gods and all of these other worlds as well, which is really, really wicked. And the future for what Thor 5 could look like is really, really wicked as well. However, from a negatives point of view, obviously they were trying to do a lot in this movie, and it does feel like they aren't able to do them all sufficiently, as they definitely needed a much larger runtime, and there is really uneven pacing across this entire movie. You can really feel like they have taken certain scenes out, and it really is at the detriment of this movie. And they also had so much potential with this movie as well, as like I said, the storylines were so good, and so they should have really gone even bigger, better and bolder and even darker as well with certain aspects of the storylines. Like I said, the Gorr character alone was so brilliant. There are certain moments where this character is truly terrifying, and I just wish you would have got more of those horror moments. So like I said, this character has so much potential to be such a brilliant MCU villain, which Christian Bale did bring to the role, but like I said, I wish they would have just gone even deeper and further with it. There are some wasted character moments in here as well. I will talk about that a lot more in the next section. And certain scenes, incidentally, I feel like they didn't really pick them really, really well. Some of them are pretty repetitive, and you do feel like you're just wasting your time seeing certain scenes being repeated as opposed to brand new material, which would have really elevated this movie even further. But all of that being said, from a storyline point of view, Thor Love and Thunder is pretty solid as well. So from a cast and characters point of view, Thor Love and Thunder is pretty perfect, as they have got some awesome cast members playing all of their characters really, really well. So let's go through them one by one. So first up, of course, we have Chris Hemsworth, who is absolutely phenomenally leading this movie as the Thor character. He's having a bit of a midlife crisis in this movie, and like I said, he's searching for purpose and meaning while still being such a powerhouse of a character. They kind of show him chilling by the mountain in one scene, and then really quickly just dominating the battlefield and just wiping all of the enemies out, and the Guardians of the Galaxy are just looking on in awe as this character is just such a brute force that is able to wipe out so many people with the Stormbreaker. And I feel like he's a really cool leader as well, both with the Guardians of the Galaxy and then with his own mini superhero team as well. I feel like people really look up to him, people really listen to him, and he is really clever in terms of knowing how to wipe out his enemies. And the way in which this character is able to interact with a large number of other characters that are all very, very different is a real strength from a personality point of view. As like I said, it really does make him a charismatic leader as well. However, all of that being said, I feel like they have made Thor pretty goofy and pretty stupid as well. People are definitely laughing at him instead of with him, and I'm not too keen on this personal direction with the Thor character. I mean, I personally love him when he's with all of the other Avengers, for example in Age of Ultron and in Infinity War as well. I feel like when you do have a comedic angle, Chris Hemsworth is absolutely able to dominate it. However, in Ragnarok and in Love and Thunder, I feel like they have dumbed down the Thor character, which I personally don't think works as well as the whole more serious / comedic side with this character. Next up we have Natalie Portman, who is brilliant returning as the Jane Foster character. Loved all of the cancer-based storylines that this character is playing. Jane Foster is such a brilliant character from a human point of view, but she is also worthy of wielding Mjolnir, which is so cool as this transforms her into the Mighty Thor. And similarly to the Thor character, she is able to dominate on the battlefield as the Mighty Thor, which I feel like is really, really cool. And I love the ensemble just between these two characters alone. Like I keep saying, I would have loved even more, but actually with Jane Foster's Thor character and Chris Hemsworth's Thor character, I feel like they did do a sufficient amount of battles between these two. And I just love Thor's reaction when he first ever sees Jane Foster wielding Mjolnir. Thing is absolute gold. Then we have Christian Bale, who is so good as a villain. Obviously we've seen him playing Batman in the whole Dark Knight trilogy, but this time we have him as a villain in the MCU, and he absolutely nails it. Like I said, you know about his origins, which really do actually build a lot of empathy and sympathy, at first at least, for this character. And he is a really great character in a very similar way like Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger character was, in terms of having a layered villain that you can actually understand why he is doing all of the chaotic stuff that he is doing. But then of course he does go down a very dark road and really does introduce the Shadow Realm, which I feel like looks really, really cool, really, really creepy, really, really chilling. Like I said, there are really, really cool moments with this character, but only one where they really go pure horror. And I just wish we would have gotten even more of that, as Christian Bale's Gorr character is just deliciously evil. I just feel like he owns the screen really, really well, and is just such a brilliant villain against Chris Hemsworth's Thor character, and of course all of the other superhero ensemble as well. And he is a really intelligent villain as well. The Necro Sword of course has made him really, really evil, but this character has a lot of wit and smart about him, and he is able to outsmart a lot of the other hero characters as well. And I love how, because he's so dehumanized, he is so decolored as well, and his entire world is lost of color and hope as well, which I think is really, really cool. And you do understand his ultimate motivation as well, which is absolutely outstanding. We've also got Tessa Thompson returning as the Valkyrie character. I feel like she's a little bit wasted in this movie. She did so much more in Thor Ragnarok. While she does continue her moody demeanor, I just feel like as a character she could have just done so much more. And unfortunately she just falls ultimately into that group of just being an extra person within a team ensemble, which is ultimately really insulting to this character, as like I said, she could have done so much more. Of course we've got the Guardians of the Galaxy at the start of this movie. They don't do that much in terms of the wider plot of this movie, but they are really, really great in terms of continuing from when we last saw them in Avengers Endgame. We then have the in-world actors playing the parts of all of these heroes, which is really, really funny. So of course we've got Matt Damon, we've got Sam Neill, we've got Luke Hemsworth, who is Chris Hemsworth's brother, playing the on-screen version of the Thor character, and we've got another new mysterious character as well, and all of them are just absolutely phenomenal. I wish we would have got a little bit more banter between Star-Lord and Thor as well, as that was so good in Infinity War. We've of course got Russell Crowe as well, doing a bit of an extended cameo as the Zeus character, really introducing Greek gods along with Norse gods, which is really, really wicked. And then finally we've of course got Taika Waititi reprising his role as the Korg character. He is a great addition to Thor's superhero team, so from a cast and characters point of view, like I said, you cannot fault them at all. So Say from a visuals point of view, Thor Love and Thunder did look very, very Thor. It did have the Thor aesthetic. So for example, traveling all the way to Olympus was really, really cool. All of the Thor battles did feel very reminiscent to what you saw in the first two Thor movies. And of course, so much is pulled from the Thor Ragnarok way of everything looking in the Thor movies. And then we have Gorr, who was absolutely brilliant, brought a whole brand new aesthetic to that character. Like I said, the Shadow Realm was really, really wicked. And all of the abilities that Gorr has, firstly with his Necro Sword, and then secondly with this ability of traveling through the shadows and creating shadow creatures. Very, very dark, very, very horror based, and did look absolutely outstanding. I feel like all of the outfits and all of the superhero garments looked really, really wicked as well. I love how Thor's just had a massive golden upgrade. And then we have the Mighty Thor played by Jane Foster, which is mirroring a lot more of the earlier look of Thor, but of course just giving a bit of a feminine twist to it. Some moments you can definitely feel like they are in front of a green screen, but then again, other moments you really are able to be immersed into this whole brand new world. And finally, I absolutely loved Mjolnir versus Stormbreaker. They never really battled each other, but I did love all of the hidden commentary in terms of, you know, cheating on your partner and then your ex returning, both in terms of Jane Foster as well as Mjolnir, and the way in which Thor is just going to be reacting to both of these characters and things returning. I thought was really, really wicked. And then even just giving both of the hammers a bit of their own character was really, really wicked too. And so from a visuals point of view, Thor Love and Thunder was absolutely triumphant. So from a comparisons point of view, first let's look at all of the four Thor movies. So I feel like personally they're all really, really good. I know Dark World obviously gets really ridiculed. I personally thought it was alright, as it did have a very true comics accurate representation of the Thor character. Of course it wasn't as good as the other Thor movies, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone describes it to be. I feel like Thor Love and Thunder probably is the best of the four Thor movies, but the other three aren't that far behind. In terms of comparing it to other heroes from the MCU, I feel like it's a lot stronger than the third Iron Man movie, but not as good as Captain America 3. Not many superhero franchises are able to claim a fourth movie from one character. The other one is probably Batman and Robin, and of course Thor Love and Thunder is a lot stronger than that movie. And I think the other most closest movie in terms of films that have been recently released from the MCU, I feel like this movie is so much stronger than Black Widow, and actually a lot stronger as well than Shang-Chi, but Shang-Chi is not that far behind, as that movie is really, really wicked. And so from a comparisons point of view, this is actually a pretty strong Marvel entry. So overall, with Thor Love and Thunder, it's a really wacky new addition for the Thor character, and really does take this character to brand new levels, and really does show that this character just isn't finished yet, and there are so many wicked potential future storylines with this character, which is really, really cool. Speaking of which, I can't wait for Thor 5, and I just feel like Thor Love and Thunder just really set the groundwork for that movie to be absolutely wicked. I feel like Gorr the God Butcher was an absolutely outstanding addition. The Mighty Thor from Jane Foster was really, really wicked as well, and just everything that they did in this movie was really, really good. Definitely could have benefited even more with a longer runtime, but I do feel like it is a really, really strong movie in its own right, and so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give Thor Love and Thunder a solid 6.5 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear what you thought of this movie, so let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.